Yeah. Who's got the balloon concession here? We got it going there. Um, Thanks. It's been a really exciting time here on the Chapel Hill campus over the last couple weeks. We had the Super Regionals. Great year by the baseball team, and we've had camps. We've had over 1,000 kids here at camp, and we've got several more coming up in the coming weeks. Have a lot of official visits in. Our players are working out as well. So, big soccer match here tonight. So really a lot of activity on campus. It's been an exciting place to be, and looking forward to the next couple of weeks here, especially as we move forward on the football end of it. A lot of new faces, since the end of last season. It's been a lot of turnover, almost 2/3 of the roster from where it was in January. After those players whose eligibility expired, or like Amari, who went into the draft when those guys left. So a lot of new faces, but definitely coming together. And training's been good. We've made a lot of improvement. It's good team chemistry, a lot of individual improvement, and obviously we got a long way to go, but we're working hard. We're making progress, and so we're excited about that. So looking forward to rounding out the summer training time, and then of course when camp starts in August, then obviously that'll be a big month for us too. But just want to connect with everybody here before we rolled into the the summer, July 4th, all that, and so give everybody a chance to catch up on UNC football.
Coach, last time we talked to you a little bit before the spring event about quarterback, and I'd asked you about Max Johnson. Max recently put out a video on social media looking like he's doing a lot more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have 4 quarterbacks. He's one of them. How close is he, and do you anticipate he will be available once, full 100% once you guys are going to camp?
Yeah, so Max is doing very well. His rehab, it's been long, and I have a lot of admiration for him. I mean, it was a tough injury, but nobody's worked harder than he has, and he certainly is able to do a lot more than he was last spring. So we'll see exactly where he is when things start, but it's a whole lot closer, and we certainly expect to see him out there. So it's been very encouraging.
Just a reminder, if we can use your name and your outlet when we ask for questions.
Andrew Jones, Tar Heels Vegas. A quick follow-up about the quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys like in Gio Lopez? You brought him in.
Yeah, was really productive at South Alabama. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's had plenty of production yardage, both the running game and the passing game experience. Tough kid, played well against some good competition, teams like LSU. Looks like he's definitely ready for this level, and we're excited to work with him as we are with everybody else. So we've got some freshmen, we've got Max, got some experience, and Gio. So we'll see how it all plays out. Honestly, none of them, with the exception of Max, for a handful of plays last year, none of them really taken any snaps here. So it'll be good to see how all that plays out.
Right in the middle.
Rod Baxley, Favorable Observer. Bill, what do you like about how you guys have built out this roster over the last few months, going into the summer and then fall camp?
Yeah, well, I think Mike Lombardi and the scouting staff have done a great job. We came in late, and so that was a little bit of a challenge on the recruiting end because it was after signing day. We were active in the portal, but kind of late on that too, because a lot of those established relationships had been previously established with some of those portal players. But that being said, I thought we still were able to improve the roster, and then we've had an addition of some players this spring who I think will be a factor, and the 26 recruiting classes, it's gotten off to a good start. We have a long way to go on that, but we've seen a lot of good players, and there's a lot of interest from those kids in coming here. We have some commits, but again, those commits don't really count until signing day. But still, I think that's a sign that we're on the right track, and from the quarterback position to the skill positions, the offensive line, and a lot of defensive front seven players and some players in the secondary, as well as a place kicker. I mean, we've got we're off to a good start. We'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Right here.
Yeah, Chip Alexander from News Observer in Raleigh. Just, you haven't seen your team in a game yet, but after spring ball, what do you feel like the strengths of your first team?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we're just going to have to evaluate that as we go. We'll have a lot better idea in training camp. Again, there were several players that left the team after spring ball, and then we have a lot of new ones, a lot of new faces, both incoming freshmen and players who came from transfers. And so we'll just have to see how all that plays out. I think where we were then and honestly where we are even today is we're at a different spot. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. We got a lot of work to do, but it's certainly trending in the right direction. We've had good leadership from, again, some of the guys that have come in here, some of the people that you'll hear from later on. Those guys have done a great job of setting the pace, and encouraging the guys to come along and put in the work. And we've had really good, results from our physical training and the team building as well. So long way to go, but, feel like we're on the right track.
Bill, Adam Smith with Inside Carolina.
Yeah.
Just want to ask, how did spring practice shape your impressions of this team since you hadn't coached any of these guys before? And how did spring practice maybe influence what you felt like needed to be done with the roster going into the next portal cycle?
These are great kids to work with. They really are. We've had great buy-in. There have been really no problems at all. I mean, these guys are on time. They're early. They work hard. They put in the work on the weight room, in the weight room, out on the field. They spend time on their own, whether it's doing extra training or coming over and watching film and that type of thing. They've made a ton of improvement. I mean, these guys are a lot better than they were when we started in January on every level. And so it's exciting to see where that's going to take us. I don't know. Maybe we're close to the peak, or maybe we're only a quarter of the way up the hill. I don't know, but we'll see. But the improvement's been very good, and I think the players, based on the improvement that we made from January to April, I'll let them speak for it. I don't want to speak for them, but I would say that based on the improvement that we made during that time frame, that's kind of generated some momentum to, if we keep working like this, we're gonna continue to get better. And these guys have dreams and aspirations, beyond North Carolina, and I think that's realistic for a lot of players. And so they're working really hard to not only get the most out of themselves individually, but they're great teammates. And so that's where we're trending.
Bill, Aaron Beard with the Associated Press. You just talked about building out the roster. I'm curious, what have you found to be the biggest challenges of navigating the transfer portal, considering so many people in college athletics describe it as kind of chaos at all times? I'm curious, when you're building a roster, what you thought of it.
Well, again, it's an area that Mike and I have been very familiar with. We spent a lot of time in that free agency space over the course of our careers in the NFL. I'd say the biggest difference in college is just the volume. There are just so many players. The college portal is, we're in the thousands, and then you're looking at a 26 recruiting class and then a 27 recruiting class that we're starting to build relationships with, and even some 28. And so the volume of players between, a recruiting class of, again, several thousand kids, a portal class, similar number, and then another class, and, it's a lot of names. It's a lot of names to keep track of, and it's not just the player, you're also dealing with, again, the recruiting part of it, right? So you have families and coaches and agents and people like that, and so in a lot of cases you're looking at a 4, 5, 6, 7 people, whatever it is, that are connected with that player, in addition to actually recruiting him. You're kind of recruiting a family. And so I just say the volume of people is a little bit more than what we've had, but we're adjusting to it, and we have a great staff. Our scouting staff's done a really good job of sorting those things out, and and putting us in, Mike and I and our respective staffs in position to be competitive in terms of making sure that those players understand what we have to offer. And what we're selling is to be a pro, to be a pro on the field, to be a pro off the field in terms of life learning, and of course the academics here are outstanding. So we'll get players ready to go to the next level, whether that's training, scheme, fundamentals, preparation, film, situation football, all those things. That's what we do, and that's what we're selling. Most kids are interested in that. They really are. So we've had great buy-in. So thank you.
Yeah, Jeremiah Holloway with Inside Carolina. One player that we're going to talk to later is, of course, Thaddeus Dixon, who Steve coached at Washington. You guys had him throughout the spring. Watching him in the spring, what did you like about some of the things that he was doing, and what do you identify as some of the strengths of this guy?
Yeah, I liked a lot of what Thad did. Let's start with just the person. Great leadership, first one on the field, works hard, very good in preparation. Had some individual meetings with Thad, really, got to spend some, quality time with him. He's been great with our recruits, probably, one of the best that we have in terms of, helping the kids that we recruit come in here and understand what the program's about and how it can be beneficial to them. But he's got good skills, probably could play any position in the secondary. We'll see how all that goes, but he's got a great skill set, a good work ethic, and he had an excellent spring. So excited to see it come together for him in the fall.
Hey Bill, Pat Walter from WRAL. There's been so much interest since you got hired in you as a coach and also in your personal life, lots of reporting out there. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you in your time here at Carolina so far?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm really focused on, doing my job here at Carolina, which is to help our football team, and that's, just to get better every day, to stack those days together, training days, preparation days, days out on the field, and we've done that, and, our staff's, again, done a great job of working hard to do that. So, that's my big focus. I mean, is there noise out there? We've always dealt with that. Really, our job is to build the football team and for the team to, help build the team and also build their individual careers. So that's really where we're at. Thanks.
WRL. One quick follow and then a different line. If you knew there would be this much interest in your personal life, would you come back to coaching, or has that taken away from the experience of you coming back to coaching? And then totally unrelated, on the house settlement with the roster limits and everything you've had to deal with, how have you sort of had to make decisions based on the cap and based on the number of scholarships and the number of roster spots?
Yeah. Well, again, on some of the noises out there and, the book and stuff like that, I mean, it is what it is. Those are, that's a personal venture that I entered into when I wasn't in coaching last year. And hopefully that'll be a big purchase on Father's Day. But in any case, the house settlement, something that we've all kind of been waiting for. And now that that's been handed down, it's quite lengthy and technical. And so, we have people on our staff and lawyers and so forth that are looking at it. So we have a full understanding of exactly what we're doing. We did that over the weekend, and Michael Lombardi and I will be meeting with those people that are advising us on what exactly it means, what we can do, how we need to configure things a little bit differently than maybe we've done in the past couple of months. Again, a lot of this was anticipated, but now that it's more formalized, we'll have to, make sure that we're compliant with every part of it, and from roster size to, payments and fair market value or reasonable market value, terms like that, the Deloitte part of it. I mean, there's a number of things that are kind of interconnected. We just want to make sure that we understand everything before we, march too far forward. But I'm glad that it's out. I'm glad that we have rules and policies and so forth that we can work with. I think now it's just understanding exactly how the mechanics of some of those will work, and again, what we can do and what we can't do. And as we identify that and as it becomes clearer, that'll just help us going forward. I would just say I would expect that over the next year there'll be a lot of things that'll come up, and probably a year from now some modifications will be made. I mean, who knows what they are, but I think that, as you get all these schools, all these athletes, student athletes, and so many different, outside NIL type, let's call them deals, we'll see how all that plays out and what the boundaries are or aren't going forward.
Bill, Michael Coe, WCHL, chapelrow.com. You're bringing in a lot of talent, a lot of experienced talent on the offensive line through the portal, in addition to returning 3 guys who started last year on the line. How do you juggle all of that experience when there are only 5 starting spots?
Right. Well, I would say in my experience, in the NFL and certainly looking from the NFL at the college landscape, it's really hard to go through a season with the same 5 offensive linemen for the entire year. That almost, I won't say never happens. It's unusual for that to happen. And certainly, we've been in situations, and as you've seen many teams, lose multiple players at the same position, for a game or two or a period. So depth is important at every position. You just never know when you're going to need it, right? And so, and again, it's good competition. And competition will bring out the best of everybody. And I think that, we have a very competitive group. Those guys embrace competition, and it makes all of us better. So I know for me, coaching against guys like Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, guys like that, that's what made me better. I mean, it was really hard to coach against those guys. So that's what sharpens your game. And I think as an athlete, student athlete, that, good competition both on your side of the ball and on the other side of the ball are important. But to your point on the amount of veteran players we have, competition will be great. I think their experience will be very helpful. But I think that's also very important that Michael and I have talked about is the 26 class, that we need to be, ready to have some players in there for the guys that, won't be returning next year. So, there's some real team building that we need to address in the future. But again, for right now, we'll let the competition play out. But I think it's very good, very healthy. It's a lot more than what I think we had back in the spring. And, the best players will play. That's the only thing I could tell you.
Rail News, given the focus on your personal life, how do you keep your players from getting distracted? And do you expect your girlfriend to be on the sidelines during games going forward?
No, she doesn't have any role in the UNC football program. But again, there's been, noise out there about a lot of different things. Again, our focus is, day to day, getting better, stacking good days together, having good rest, recovery, and training, moving forward the next day. And from the coaching staff to focus on, how do we help our team get better? That's my job. That's our staff's job is to put a good plan in place so that they can, if they do the work, that they see the improvement. And so, that's what our job is.
Second row left.
Brian McGovern with Daily Cario. Obviously still very early, but do you have any early impressions on when you guys' kind of offensive philosophy will be, and how does having multiple options at quarterback kind of change that or anything about that?
Right. Well, again, at the quarterback position, we have really of our call it 5 players there at quarterback, including the 2 freshmen who are coming in. Bryce is the only one that was here in the spring. Max was here, but wasn't able to participate much. And of course, Gio's new. So I think as we see the offense evolve, some of it'll obviously be in part reflective of how those quarterbacks do and how that position shapes up. So I think we have good competition there, and our offense is our offense, and we'll be able to adapt to whoever it is. We've certainly had a lot of quarterbacks through the years with different skill sets, and we're able to work with all of them. But we'll see how it all plays out. So right now, that position is one that we just don't have a lot of on-field experience with. And again, even though Max was here, he just wasn't able to participate in a lot of the team drill or in any of the team drills. So it kind of also includes him, even though he's a very experienced player.
Middle.
Jalen Gilkey, WF1 News 2 out of Greensboro. Coach, thanks for your time. Wanted to know, you spoke on it earlier, the vast improvements that your team has made so far this spring. What were some of those areas that you were looking to see your team get better, and how close are you to where you guys want to be?
Well, again, always working to continue to improve, and again, as we hit our targets, then we just keep raising the bar on those targets and see where it goes. But I think the improvement really was across the board. So better communication, better fundamentals, better understanding of what we're trying to do. Certainly, the conditioning was much better. We practiced at a very high level, similar to what we have done in the past with Moses Cabrera, our strength coach, and our offensive and defensive systems and so forth, and the players were able to respond to that and maintain not only good health but a high quality performance. So we didn't run out of gas. We were able to sustain the workload of those practices from our off-season training that started back in January. So all those were great signs of growth. Again, how far can we go? How much can we improve? And how will it all come together collectively? We'll just have to see, but we're not going to stop. The improvement we made, we don't think we're there yet. We're definitely not there. We know we got a long way to go, but I think these guys have a a really good future in front of them individually and collectively, and it's exciting to see the progress they've made. So, just look forward to working with them every day. It's really a great group to work with, and a great opportunity for me and our staff to see the satisfaction and the growth that they've had, like I said, individually and collectively as a group. And we have some new players coming in, and it's exciting to work with them. We'll see how that all works out too. So, thanks so much for coming. Appreciate it, and we'll turn it over here to some of our student athletes here. They've done a great job for all 4 of these guys, giving us great leadership throughout the time they've been here. In some cases, with Hardy and Ship, they've been here, their whole career, but also Ted and Christo coming in. Those guys did give us great leadership all the way through. All right, thank you.